1460 WNBA and streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
It's time for Notes on Local Entertainment, the show highlighting the best in local talent. Hosted by Scott Tady Entertainment, editor for the Beaver County Times, and Eddie Crow.
I'm fairly certain he does it on purpose, but I appreciate the consistent effort. Scott Tady joins me now in the studio, entertainment editor for the Beaver County Times. And what I'm talking about, if you go and you watch this on our Facebook page, this is being live feeded. Feeded?
Live fed, I think.
Let's go with that. You never pass up the opportunity to walk in wearing your Arsenal English football scarf. Do you wear that all the time? And I think I think you do that because here's I'm not going to show it, my Manchester United scarf, but you come in. I appreciate the consistency of it.
Top of the table.
And going away.
Yeah, probably. Enjoying it while we're in first place, we've been, but who knows what's going to happen.
As long as we quit. Nobody cares about this. Do you do the full English breakfast?
I find it from Auto Brewing. They're a Liverpool bar, and they're a bunch of
are they?
Yeah, more and more places are popping up following English football, and especially if you're a Pittsburgh sports fan. The Penguins are not going to make the playoffs. The Pirates have a dreadful season ahead. The Steelers didn't make the playoffs.
Now wait a minute.
Pick an English football team.
Yeah. Pick Sunderland. Enjoy the glow of relegation. I'm going to throw an idea at you because you mentioned the Pirates, and that's entertainment of sorts. If somebody said, Scott Tady, we're going to put you in charge of professional baseball, okay? Would you institute relegation where the worst teams in each division aren't Major League next year? The best teams in the lower division come up, and they get to play Major League Baseball. That's what it is in England. It's 20 teams. If you're on one of the three worst teams, you're not in the Premier League next year.
I would do that in a heartbeat. In this case, maybe the minor league teams like Buffalo or Memphis, they could step up and be in the major leagues if they finish first. Why not? That's an incentive for every team, including the Pirates, to spend money, to play well, to do what they can to entertain their fans. Besides, look how big our scoreboard is.
Okay, that was just straight snotty. What do you think the Pirates are going to do this year? I am seeing an amazing amount of optimism on our Facebook post. I'm seeing people say they're going to win 100.
I think a good start, a strong finish, but the middle's going to be pretty rough. I'll say 7 games under 500. I think they'll finish strong. They supposedly have some good young players.
So they're going to flirt with 500.
I think so, but it'll be because they'll get off to a surprisingly good start and have a strong finish. July is going to be rough.
I love your optimism.
I'm trying.
I love your optimism. It is Teleforum. Scott Tady of the Beaver County Times is my guest. You can see him and his Arsenal scarf on their television. Well, it's on our Facebook page right now.
Also have my 4019s jacket. One of our best listeners, Nick Ziegler of California, watches us, the great Beaver County Monaca drummer. So I'm representing him as well.
Hi, Nick. I busted my coffee cup. I had a 4019's coffee cup. I saw something in the news, and I've heard commercials, and it's part of a concert series that we're advertising. Is Don Gatlin one of the Gatlin brothers? Is it like the Grenadis? You see the name Gatlin, there's 35 of them.
He is and he isn't. Here's the thing. Back in the late...
No way.
Yeah, that's the only answer I got. In the late 80s, a couple Blackhawk High School students, last name Gatlin, started writing songs. They got picked up by, I think it was Atlantic Records,
cool.
Major label. They had a couple songs in the charts. One catch, there already was a group in Nashville called the Gatlin Brothers.
The Gatlin Brothers.
They were established. So they hit a stone wall because of that. I guess the Gatlin Brothers that existed had more clout, so they changed their name to the Ellis Brothers. And that, to me, that's kind of a softer name. If you're going to be in country music, you need a name like Colt or Tex or Bronco or
something pointy.
Gatlin sounds like a gun. That works.
Sure.
The Ellis Brothers, it didn't quite work, so that the recording career stopped. But then they started writing really cool songs for people like Toby Keith and Kenny Rogers, and that's the tie-in. This Don Gatlin, Chippewa Blackhawk grad, is coming back to Beaver Falls early May to do a show with Kenny Rogers' band. He's got three guys that spent more than 20-plus years on the road with Kenny Rogers. A couple of the other guys in the band played with Kenny for like 18 years, 12 years. They're the real deal. They did the Tonight Show with Kenny. They did the CMA Awards. They did all the big shows that Kenny Rogers would have done. So they know the stories about him. They know the music. At one point, they challenged the audience to stump us. They say, let's do it. They call it the fast round, the Kenny round or something. Name a Kenny Rogers song. We know it. Pick. And how many albums did that guy have? Probably like 80. But it's going to be a good show, Beaver Falls Middle School.
How many stories do you think they could tell? Because Kenny, even back then, even before the internet, even before you really knew some of the backstage shenanigans of some of your favorite, Kenny had a reputation as a little bit of a party guy and a woman guy. And I bet you the stories that they can't publish, but they could tell you sitting with a long neck, I bet they're spectacular.
Don't forget, he started as a psychedelic rocker. Remember that song? That was in the Big Lebowski.
New Christie Minstrels.
What condition my condition
Oh,
is
that's
in?
right. Kenny Rogers
is
in
on
the
that.
5th edition or 5th Dimension or something.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Glenn Campbell with New Christie Minstrels. Yeah, people came up like that. Okay, well,
I have an interview with Don real quickly. It'll be in my column tomorrow. So he's talking about coming back to Beaver Falls. He's excited about that. His band, Savannah Jack, did 66 dates on the road with Kenny Rogers. So he knew him from opening shows for him. He knew him from writing a couple songs for him. So it's going to be a good night in Beaver Falls.
while we're talking about local talent, how was the Ashley Marina?
Oh, man. She was at Beaver Station last week. This is like the 15-year-old girl from Lincoln Park Performing Arts Center. She sang one of her original songs. It reminded me of the Clarks, that one about Teach Me How to Paint. I Was Born Too Late or whatever like that.
Vincent?
Yes. She did like her own version where she's rhyming in like Oprah and then Princess Diana and kind of more modern influences. But 15-year-old singer on stage by herself, strumming guitar, playing keys, singing songs that she has written. She was doing covers by like Bruno Mars and a couple of acts. Olivia Rodrigo, which is more her genre. So I know this girl is going places. We already talked about her last week. She was at the Apollo Theater, got a standing ovation. She was on national TV. Simon Cowell on America's Got Talent said this girl's going places. Lincoln Park girl right now, and getting to see her live again for the second time. I'm just really looking forward to seeing how far she goes.
Is that what differentiates good and great?
Writing your own songs?
Well, that's great plus. But when somebody can get up there without all of the hullabaloo, just walk up there with a guitar and nothing else.
It was kind of cute. Her roadie was her dad. So, Dad, hand me that guitar. Hand me the acoustic. And he became part of the show. Everyone was kind of cheering, Dad. So it was pretty cool.
You got to meet Jim Messina.
Yeah.
Did you bring up any? Did he sing Loggins and Messina songs, or was this solo stuff? Was he a Gordon Lightfoot where he just ticked everybody off?
He did a lot of Loggins and Messina. He did Angry Eyes, like 11, 12-minute version of it. It was really cool. Of course, Your Mama Don't Dance. This was a show at the Oaks Theater. I haven't been there in like 15 years in Oakmont. Really cute, cool theater. A little quirky. The restrooms could use an updating, but I like the one thing about, you got to remember about Jim Messina. Before he became a rock star with Buffalo Springfield, he was a sound engineer for one of the major record companies. Can't remember which one, top of my head. So he is a perfectionist with sound. And I was talking to his publicist before the show. She said there's been times the doors are supposed to open and they're not open. We'll wait a half hour. He wants to make sure the sound is as pristine as possible, and it was. It really was, and it makes a difference. It was the perfect level. You could hear every nuance. They had a lot of hand percussion. You could hear that. You could hear the bass. Really dug it. But yeah. I write about that in next week's column. But Jim Messina, he didn't need Kenny Loggins. He was entertaining on his own.
It is Teleforum. Scott Tady of the Beaver County Times is my guest. 1230 WBBP, 1460 WNBA, 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM. All of those options are available because of the kindness of Freedom United Federal Credit Union. I'm really curious if I can get this out of you. You talked to somebody who absolutely rips, but it was part of your guitar series. How deep did you get when you talked to Pierce Dipner, who is appearing at the Maple Syrup Festival and Music Festival, by the way? He's ungodly. Like, who is this kid? He's amazing. But you talk to him about guitars. When somebody is that good, I'm always more interested in how specific they get when they start talking about their instrument, because they have a tendency to be obsessive about it.
Yeah, he went with a Gibson's, his favorite guitar. I forget it was an
ES 335, 355.
One of those two.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what ES stands for?
I should know that, but I don't.
Electric Spanish. We're talking about the hollow bodies, what arch tops or jazz boxes is what they refer to, but the 335 and the 355, the ES, those are the two The 55, I believe, is a little bit bigger, but it's basically the same guitar.
Since we've been doing my favorite guitar, that's where in the times we ask prominent local guitarists to talk about their favorite guitar. A lot of Gibsons, and what's the one from Pennsylvania, Eastern PA guitar?
Martin?
Martin, yes. I drew a blank. I'm sorry. Those are the two everyone's going with. But
That's for acoustic?
well,
That's the benchmark.
okay.
Martin.
The standard, yes.
That's the standard.
At least I remember it was from Pennsylvania.
I own a Martin. I'm not worthy.
Yeah, but Pierce Dipner, this is a kid. He's like 20 now, but at age 15, he already put out his first album. He went to Memphis a couple times to represent all of Western Pennsylvania as an emerging talent in the International Blues Challenge, and he's playing, like you said, the Maple Syrup Festival at Brady's Run Park in a couple weekends from now. To my knowledge, he's only played Hopewell Township Amphitheater last year. I think it's only the second time he's done Beaver County since he's kind of taken off. So. Yeah, you want to get there. He's doing an early set. I believe he's the Sunday, the first act on stage, I believe. So double check that.
He's the opener. You would, I don't know. Well, here's the nice way to say it. Most openers ain't as good as he is.
He probably has another gig that night. He's probably
that's entirely possible too. And he's a local kid too, right?
South Hills, I believe, that Mount Lebanon area. But yeah, so it's a name that's going places. I like he's done what Bobby Thompson did, and big fan of him too from Hopewell. Where when a younger guy starting out, surrounding himself with older, seasoned musicians, kind of keep in check. They've seen it all, done it all. They know what to do. So when he plays out with the band, sometimes he's got that. But I'm not sure if he's doing solo, the whole band, or whatever. But just to see a phenomenal guitarist on stage, Brady's Run Park, Beaver County Maple Syrup, and Music Festival. Love that they're adding the fact it's not just the Maple Syrup Festival.
No doubt.
They're now calling it Maple Syrup and Music Festival.
And that's going to get a new crowd. First off, people are going to be excited because there hasn't been a Maple Syrup Festival in, 2 or 3 years anyway, right?
I think since 2019,
All
right? Yeah.
They're going to be geeked out about the festival's back, but that's a whole new crowd going. Maybe they don't care about maple syrup, but maybe they want to see Pierce Dipner or want to see Curtis's band or want to see whoever.
David Granati's bringing not just his the kids for those About to Rock Academy. He's bringing the adult academy as well. These are guys like you're in my age who always wanted to be rock stars, and they get some nurturing from David Granati, and they get to play live at places like this, and that's going to be a fun show too.
Okay, last question. You bring this up, and I know there are people that do it. They go to fantasy rock camps just like they go to fantasy baseball camp. Okay. You're going to go and you're going to have a Granati teach you how to be a rock star.
You're not going to make me pick one Granati, are you?
No.
Oh.
Dear God, that'd take for months. You have to pick one rock star because I bet you when you show up at the Granati camp, I bet they say, who is your biggest who do you want to be on stage? Because it's a fantasy camp. You might as well rear back and embrace the fantasy. You show up, you're going to be a rock star. What rock star are you going to most emulate?
I might do Richie Blackmore, Deep Purple, and knowing that he's not a easy person to talk to or communicate with, but probably my second favorite guitarist besides.
So you're
Jimmy
going
Page.
with the jag-off motif.
Yeah, but maybe I could reach to him. Maybe I could get to him, and he would teach me how to play not just Smoke on the Water. I could probably play that, but the Deep Purple stuff, if you will.
Highway Star?
Yeah, how about that? That's
right.
Great. Or Child in Time or something, or
Well, I think he'd be impressed that you knew a third song by him.
Oh, I'm a big fan.
Now, do you think those classes come with How to Trash Hotel Rooms 101 classes?
Let's hope. That's the Motley Crue school.
I did see somewhere that jazz is coming.
Oh, yeah.
I pretend I love jazz. Some of it I think is brilliant. Some of it is so far over my head, I can't even see the bubbles.
Yeah, to me, it's like I wish I could describe it the way some real hardcore jazz musicologists can. It's like wine. I know what good wine tastes like, but to describe it is a whole other thing. And But yeah, Jackson's Restaurant in Center Township, they're doing a Thursday jazz series. So Rick Gilbert's there tonight. You may have seen him. I've caught him at the Beaver Light Up Night a lot of times, but there he's singing Christmas songs. But he'll be there tonight. They do blues and rock too, but it seems like they're leaning heavy jazz. But Kenny Neal showed up a couple weeks ago.
Really?
This is a major Pittsburgh artist, but he's a national recording act, plays on a lot of heavy-hitting jazz albums. He just showed up at Center Township and was sitting in, so you never know what's going to happen. Jackson's Restaurant, Center Township, I think it's like 5 to 8.
You got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. What should I have brought up that I didn't bring up, Scott Tady?
I think I can think of Tuesday in Newcastle. They're having a big ceremony for the Warner Brothers theater, the very first theater that the Warner Brothers built back in, they're celebrating its 100th anniversary of the Warner Studio in Hollywood. But before they were doing that, they opened a theater in Newcastle, downtown Newcastle. They're having an event. They're going to have a Bugs Bunny, I won't say impersonator, but they're going to be showing movies for free, all kinds of celebration of the fact that the Warner Brothers legacy and empire began in Lawrence County, Newcastle.
Favorite Bugs Bunny cartoon? Warner Brothers cartoon. Porky Pig's
Kill
in
the
there.
Wabbit. Gotta go opera.
Wabbit season. Oh, the opera one.
Yeah. I learned a lot from that.
I did too. That explains a lot too, actually. Scott Tady, always good to talk to you. Always good to have you seen on our Facebook page. You want to take us out with a little Bugs Bunny operatic?
That's all, folks.
Thanks for tuning in to Notes on Local Entertainment with